Hey everybody, and welcome back. If you haven't been here before, welcome to my channel. I'm Queso Builds. Today we're diving into the world of 3D printing as I recreate the iconic Majora's Mask from the Legend of Zelda series. If you're a fan like I am, stay tuned. But before we get started, if you enjoy prop making and creating things or just 3D print time lapses in general, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss out on any future projects. Now let's jump into the magic world of Majora's Mask. Alright, so first things first, this is a Hex 3D print. I'll be sure to link his Patreon down in the description. You can find all the files there. This is printed at 100%. The eyes have been scaled down to 98% so they could fit a little bit better as per the instructions on the Patreon. But what I'm doing right now is I just have a simple acrylic paint that I bought from Hobby Lobby, nothing fancy. It's not like Apple Barrel or anything from Walmart. But it's just a simple acrylic red paint, and I'm using a makeup brush to apply the paint to the centerpiece. I looked up reference images online. You can find a lot of stuff online to just kind of go and follow through with, but this is where we're going to start with, is just this red bit, and that's where your eyes are going to be drawn into. So you want to just kind of focus on that a little bit, make sure there's good coverage and everything like that. So fun fact number 1, the game is built around the stages of grief. Clocktown is denial, Woodfall is considered anger, Snowhead is bargaining, Depression is seen in Great Bay, and the last stage, Icona Valley, is acceptance. This is where Link sees lifeless forms of himself and he has to move on or end up like those that are lost there. Alright, so next I'm going to focus on the eyes. I set down the mask, so I'm going to let it dry, just on the back right there. This is Sunlu Yellow PLA. And what I'm doing here is I'm just going to be using the same red I used on the mask to begin with, but I'm watering it down a little bit so it's nice and thin. If you look at Majora's Mask, the eyes, they have a red tint around the outside. So just go around and slowly build up those layers. It doesn't need to look good. This is a mask. It's a prop. It's used in the game. It's not supposed to look pristine. So just go through and blotch some red around, and I promise you it's going to end up looking fantastic. Alright, fun fact number 2. Zelda only makes one appearance in Majora's Mask, and it's not even in person. She is in a flashback with Link in the beginning, and that's it. So Zelda is not in Majora's Mask. Alright, at this point, I'm going to let the eyes dry. I did the red around it. Now I'm focusing on the green part of the eye. I think it's called the iris. In Majora's Mask, it kind of has a black outline to it. So I'm going to go around and I'm just going to mark with black around the edges. Same kind of way, just slowly build up a layer, maybe a little bit thicker in some parts, maybe not. Now I'm going to add some super glue, and I'm going to make these fit into the eyes. So the eyes will be done with this. I don't have to paint the pupil. Pupil's already printed in black PLA, so no worries there. So the eyes came out looking fantastic. Alright, here I'm just going to be adding some yellow into the inner eyes. The yellow paint, it's the same kind of acrylics. It didn't stick as nice or spread or cover as much as I wanted it to, but it turned out okay. Right here, I'm starting to add the green around the mask. A lot of the images I looked at, they had green going through here, and I thought that was kind of a fun color to use. Same thing though, the coverage was kind of meh. I had to go over it a few times to make the look I wanted and what I was going for. Alright, next I'm just going to start doing the white highlight around the mask. This really started to make the mask look complete and finished. After I was done with this, I took a step back and I just looked at it, and it looked nice. You know, I'm not gonna lie, it started to come together. This was the point, this was the turning point. Before it was just kind of whatever, but now the mask with the white highlights on it started to really pop, and it looked a lot better. Alright, so my next fun fact is there was only a 1-year development time for Majora's Mask. It was a quick turnaround after Ocarina of Time. A lot of the assets were just reused. But yeah, only a 1-year turnaround for this great game. All right, so next I'm gonna go around the mask on the raised edge and do black. And this also made the mask pop some more, added some more definition, and it just gave it some depth that it needed. All right, so next I'm going to outline the raised edge with black. And again, this did the same thing that the white paint did, and it just made the mask pop. It gave it more depth, and it just made it look overall better. Note that when you are painting the mask, try to save the paint, the black paint, for last. You can paint as much as you want on the raised edges that are being covered in black, because the black paint will cover everything and you won't even notice anything there. But when you are painting with the black, just go slow, take your time, because with the red right here, if I get any black on there, I have to repaint over it a bunch, because it's harder to hide. So when you're doing this, just be careful. And if you don't care and it adds to the weathering, then you know what? You do you. All right here I mixed up some orange paint, just adding another color on these fine details up top. By now I was thinking, the mask is almost complete, and I was feeling pretty good. These are minor details, but they make the mask look better, and I know I keep saying that, but when you paint the details of this mask, before it was just a regular piece of plastic, and now you gave it depth. Alright, so fun fact number 4, Termina, the place the game is located, is a reflection of Hyrule. If you take a look around, a lot of stuff's going to seem familiar, but it's also going to seem different. Go take a look next time you're playing. Look at the NPCs, look at the overall vibe of the game, and it is a parallel universe or a parallel place of Hyrule. Alright, so I didn't record the audio for this part, but if you're into ASMR or anything like that, this was really satisfying part, is popping in the eyes. Had to be careful, got to make sure they're all lined up and everything, make sure it's not off. I don't want a cross-eyed mask or anything. But once I did this and got lined up, I just put some glue in the back, and that held it in place just fine. Alright, so after the eyes are in place, the next move is the spikes. All the painting's done besides the spikes, but I'll do that later. With this mask, each spike corresponds with a certain location. You need to put them in the right spot. They are labeled on the files and everything, and it comes with a picture of where you're supposed to put it. Even if you don't use that, they won't fit in certain places, so just make sure you're putting the spikes in the right place. You don't have to force anything. They'll all sink in where they're supposed to go. Alright, so up next, with all the images I looked at, all of them had some colors on these spikes. Some had the colors on the top 2, but most of them just had them on these bottom 3. The colors went red, green, blue, and all I did is I took some watered down acrylic paint that I've been using, got my makeup brush, and I just slopped some paint on. You don't need to make sure this has the greatest coverage. None of these spikes in any of the reference photos had great coverage, so just throw some paint on and call it good. Alright, the next thing I did, which is the last thing, is I printed the stand that came with it. This was a really easy print. It printed off all in one day, and I painted in one day, and it was done. So if you're looking for something to do, something quick, make Majora's Mask from Hex 3D. If you enjoyed, watch some more content, stick around, come back. Thanks for having me.
To watch more, subscribe.